Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Jay's Latest. And happy Celebration Day here for Toronto Blue Jays fans as we pick up our 10th win in a row. So let's dive into it. I'm going to talk all things Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Please hit those subscribe buttons, hit some likes, comments. We would love to chit chat with you more every morning and have some good feedback to discuss and talk all things Toronto Blue Jays baseball. So let's see if we can hit a home run here on this show. So, who is going to be selling is obviously one of the biggest questions as the Blue Jays and everybody approach the trade deadline, the All Star break, all that kind of good stuff. So, in the midst of that, who is going to be selling? And we know there's going to be one team that's selling, and that is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Because at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Pirates have an amazing team, but it's very young. It's not going to produce on the level that they need to get into the postseason. So, how do they build on that talented core over the next few seasons? Well, you trade some of your short termers, you trade some of your rental pieces, you trade some guys that maybe aren't going to be here when you are potentially going to be a lot better than a 38-55 record like they are currently. So, that being said, there's some good talent on this team for the Toronto Blue Jays to be able to add on to this wonderful 10-run winning streak that we are currently on and run this team right into the playoffs. I quote Vlad Guerrero Jr. Once I wake up, I just can't wait to get to the field to be with my teammates. It has been unbelievable. And I cannot say anything better to piggyback on that because we all can't wait to tune in every evening and see how this team is doing because they've been fun to watch regardless of the wins. They are clicking, all the fun, all these shenanigans. Um, this is a team that we are getting to watch in every facet of the wording. So, anyway, the Pittsburgh Pirates, one person that they could potentially be looking to offload, especially with a monster contract at the age of 30, could be Brian Reynolds. So Brian Reynolds has a contract which he is going to be making basically average 15-16 million dollars over the next 6 seasons. So until his age 37 season, he will not be a free agent. Brian Reynolds is one of those guys that's been known for making great contact and doing all these wonderful things in the field. Um, could be a bat the Blue Jays are talking about adding. They're looking for bats. Um, is one of those things that does convolute the outfield once you do get an Anthony Santander back in the lineup here. But at the end of the day, having a switch hitter that can hit for some thunder, not a bad thing to have in your lineup. His 162 game average averages out to be a 3.5 WAR, which there is exciting. 32 doubles, 24 home runs, 84 RBIs while batting 271 to do that. And he has consistently done that in Major League Baseball up until this season, in which he has been having some, I'll say, quirks. And I don't know if it's injuries, all these things. He does have a no trade clause, but he is being shopped, and with everything going on with a rebuild, he's been there the entirety of the time with the Pittsburgh Pirates. My guess is to go to a contender, he might waive said no trade clause to go to a winner. And whatever he gets traded to, he's going to be there for a hot minute. So he could be on a team that is very extendedly good for a long time. And then what I would like to see happen is if you are able to trade for him, you find a way to get Dennis Santana in that trade too. This young righty at the age of 29 has been doing some good things for the Pirates over the last 2 years in that bullpen. This season, he currently has a 1.6 ERA with a .788 WHIP in just basically 40 innings out of the bullpen. So he has been very good. And you talk about being able to get somebody included in a trade like this that might just help you push the thing over the top, or at least make it worth throwing some extra prospects at it. You have a chance to do something really cool with Brian Reynolds and Dennis Santana possibly being traded and putting in Blue Jay uniforms. Would be very fun to watch. I think there's some prospect capital there that would help both teams. It might unfortunately include trading Trey Savage or Arjun Namala, which I don't like, but this is an extended player that is having a down season that you could buy low on, give him a change of scenery, and then win. So, always like Brian Reynolds and how he plays the game. Reminds me of some of the great outfielders the Blue Jays have had. Almost kind of a in that Shannon Stewart, Reed Johnson ballpark of what we've seen for Blue Jays fans over the years. So good stuff. So moving next, we got some trade other updates here. Pitching, we might be getting Alec Manoah back sooner than we thought, as far as that piece is. Um, Pitched a rehab start, or not rehab start, simulated game in his rehabs yesterday. Um, no word on how well it went, but apparently, according to Alec Manoah's Instagram page, he's been keeping track with baseballs with the news on how he's been doing. And one from yesterday reads day 359 post surgery, first live versus Dalton Varsho. Thank you, Jesus. So it must have went pretty good if he's right part on top of it. So, but either way, 359 days removed from Tommy John's surgery, Alec Manoah appears to be heading in the right direction, in which he will be able to talk. How good he's doing as he gets into rehab starts in the near future. The current plan apparently is after that live is to see how he did in those 2 innings and see if he needs to do another live session before he starts a rehab assignment. So, and that rehab assignment would be to treat it like spring training. Ramp his arm up, ramp his innings up, assume he's still a starter, obviously, and see where it goes. But either way, that is an arm we were hoping would be at this point for the Toronto Blue Jays to possibly use in this little rotation slash bullpen going forward here for the rest of the season. And it sounds like he's on pace to do that. So I'm still looking very much forward to the Alec Manoah revenge tour because it was starting to look like it might have happened last year and didn't quite make it with the Tommy John surgery. So let's move right along as we talk about the then rain-soaked Toronto Blue Jays win. This short game yesterday finaled in 7 innings. The Blue Jays walk off with their 10th win. Um, it is now their most wins in their team's history before the All Star break. 54 wins yesterday with that one. Blue Jays are on fire and doing great things, finding all ways to contribute on the mound, the dugout, on the field. Pick a thing. Everybody's clicking together. This is truly, like I said a few moments ago, all sense of the word, a team. So as they stir the pot in the AL East, they are continuing to widen their lead a little bit. The Tampa Bay Rays lost yesterday. The Yankees won. But the Blue Jays did their part, still remain first in the American League East, 4.5 games ahead. And the Toronto Blue Jays, like I said, blew up in 1 inning against the Chicago White Sox in Chicago yesterday. And the fifth inning was not a good time for Aaron Savali yesterday. Blue Jays break out, go wild. And in that inning, Davis Schneider kicks it off. I tuned in just at the time where he was putting on the home run jacket. Loved every minute of it. Seeing him with that smile and that mustache and wearing the home run jacket and getting all into it is just infectious. Gets you moving. So, and to that point, it definitely lit a fire under the Blue Jays offense yesterday because after that solo home run, his fourth of the season for Davis Schneider, Vlad Guerrero Jr. hits a double, drives in George Springer, keeps the Blue Jays circling the bases, and then Addison Barger hits a giant monster double, 21 in the season. It one hops to the fence, gets Vlad in, Bo moves all the way over to third. Kirky comes up, drives in Bo, and then Joey Loperfido picks up another RBI on a ground out. So the Blue Jays now had 5-0. Um, in the midst of some fun, eventually the Blue Jays do get a sixth run on a really weird play with where was it? I lost it. Anyway, we scored another one on a really odd play in the sixth inning. Um, and then Josh Rojas is the only run with a solo home run for the Chicago White Sox. But looking deeper in the box score, Chris Bassett was on fire, did great things, only allowed the home run, as I mentioned, in 6 innings. That would be all we needed with the rain out yesterday, and then being a final 7-inning game. Bassett, even after this game, said that if they needed him over the next week, because his next start would actually technically be after the All-Star break at this point, he could run lawn man because of what he did yesterday. And after only throwing 78 pitches, all right, sure. That's a lot better than having to worry about calling arms up if something weird happens over the next week because he'll be able to rest up over the All-Star break and then come back and do his normal start anyways, assuming the Blue Jays do some rotation juggling even at that time. So great, good to hear. Um, George Springer continuing to George Springer things. 2 hits, 2 plate appearances, 2 walks. Picks up another run scored, as I mentioned. Nathan Lucas is loving that leadoff spot. Picks up another hit. Vlad with 2. Kirky, Joey Loperfido in 3 games is batting 500 almost for the Toronto Blue Jays. And then I mentioned Davis Schneider with the home run. So cannot say enough good things on how this team is picking up all their teammates and just continuing to keep the line moving. That's the point. Um, this is also the most wins, like I mentioned, for the team at this point in the season. 10-game winning streak. I was trying to look up the last time the Blue Jays had a 10-game winning streak, and the one that pops unfortunately into mind is the year that the Blue Jays still had Ching Min Wong in this starting rotation. So it's been a bit. So let's flash forward to today because the Blue Jays will be playing at 2:10 Eastern time. And it will be Eric Hauser versus Eric Lawler versus Adrian Hauser. I see what I did there. So Adrian Hauser is going to be on the bump for the Chi Sox. He's having a pretty good season with 50 innings, 1.6 ERA, and 8 starts. Very, very good for him. And the White Sox obviously have been using him as more or less their ace. um, hasn't been a starter. This is really the first year he's been that. So when's he gonna get too tired or anything like that? He has been a reliever that's thrown about 100 innings over the last few years. Been very good at it. Obviously translating into the starting rotation for the White Sox. On the mound for us, Eric Lawler will be looking to continue doing what he has been doing as he's basically stealing this rotation spot and making it really difficult for the Blue Jays, even though if they need to do a trade for a pitcher. Um, He's fresh off a start against the Los Angeles Angels, in which he gave up 2 earned runs in 6 innings. And he's been basically averaging 5 innings a start, which is really what a fifth starter needs to do keep a team in the game. So his current season ERA is 2.65 in 51 innings, 7 of those being starts out of his 13 games that he has been in. Right around 1 for his whip. So it's been really cool to see Eric Lawler be a great story for the Toronto Blue Jays. And I don't have a lot to talk about as far as who has played against each other on either of these teams because neither of them have faced either. So on that note, Blue Jays fans, make sure you tune in again tomorrow. We will talk all things here on Jay's Latest. Make sure you tune in this evening to the live stream on Jaybird Watching and make sure you have your voice heard where we obviously talk about, wonderfulness in the 10-game winning streak, how we took first place since last week when we were talking about it possibly happening. And we're going to keep talking all things Toronto Blue Jays trades, rumors on both shows. And on Jaybird Watching, we are going to have our friend Anthony from Major League Brews on to talk American League East and getting to the All-Star game as well. So hope you all have a great day. Go Blue Jays, and we'll talk to you soon.